Yes, it's true. Ilia Topuria is done with 145, and he's looking to fight Charles Oliveira in April or May. Now, when I first heard this, I had a lot of thoughts running through my head. And then people kept asking me, "Oh, is he ducking Movzar? Is he ducking Diego Lopez? Is he ducking the Volk rematch?" And no, I don't think he's ducking. I don't think he's ducking. One thing I've noticed about Ilia Topuria is that he's chasing something bigger than himself. I feel like he's chasing legacy and money. Like, I feel like he's chasing legacy fights and fights that bring you money. Now, the fact that he's done with 145 is interesting, but I feel like it's because, as he said in one of these interviews today, that he wants to retire at 30 years old, as you can see in this one right here. He said, "I'm 27 and I hope to be out by 30. Now, I hear things like this and I'm like, okay, now it's starting to make sense a little bit in some senses. Like, he's not just leaving 145 because he's ducking anyone in this. I really legitimately feel like he's leaving 145 because he feels as if he's beaten the best fighters at 145. Now, we look at his 145 resume, we see nasty opponents. We see someone like Max Holloway, Volkanovski. We see the GOATs at featherweight. Now, what's he trying to do? Once you leave that, you beat those two people in featherweights. I feel like he looks at the rest of the featherweights and like, yeah, they might be good right now. They might be talented, but they're not legacy fights for him. Now, he wants to go up in weight and fight Charles Oliveira first. You're probably like, Kenny, why Charles? You know what I'm saying? As he said before, Islam is booked for January against Arman, and he wants to kind of fight. He doesn't want to be out too much. He never knows when Islam's going to recover for that fight, etc. So the next best bet at lightweight is who? Charles Oliveira. Now, I look at Charles Oliveira, former champion, looked great in his last fight. Charles Oliveira has substance. He has some kind of legacy in the lightweight division. So if Ilia Topuria were to go up and beat him, and let me just say this, Ilia Topuria can go up and comfortably beat Charles Oliveira. In my opinion now, I know everyone's opinion is different, but I do think Ilia Topuria can go up and comfortably Charles Oliveira because, Charles kind of struggles with people who are decent. If you know how to defend chokes and grapple well like Ilia, I think you're able to hang with Charles. In addition to the fact that Charles gets tagged a lot, Ilia has great hands, etc., etc. Now, I feel as if that's what he wants to do. Now, what's up with the 145 division? Because I feel like that's a big question that no one really knows the answer to right now. If this man, Ilia Topuria, were to leave 145, I'm assuming he'd have to vacate the belt. Because what he's saying right now that, oh yeah, I'm 27, I'm going to fight till I'm 30, I'm not going to be here for a long time, I'm going to be here for like a good time, legacy, etc., etc. He has to vacate the belt. I'm assuming they're going to do something with Volk involved. Maybe a Volk Movzar fight because Movzar just beat Aljo, but it's giving he's done with 145. And I feel like vacating the belt for Ilia isn't a big obligation to ask. I feel like he's okay with vacating the belt. I feel like he's not upset that like potentially losing this 145 belt because he's beating the who's at 145. We've already said this. The best back-to-back wins in UFC history is Volkanovski and Max Holloway. And not only did he beat them back-to-back, but he knocked them out back-to-back. Now, say for whatever reason, I'm saying for whatever reason, but this is pretty common sense. Ilia goes up and knocks out Charles Oliveira, who's a very established lightweight, one of the GOATs. That's great. That's going to build your legacy. And then after that, I'm assuming he's going to push for the Islam Makhachev fight to fulfill his double champ dream. Even if he's not a simultaneous champion, he's going to be a double champion. And knowing Ilia, he's still going to be like, technically, I'm still the 145 champion because no one ever beat me at 145. I know Ilia. I know how he kind of goes out with this, like, I don't want to say cocky because I like the confidence. I feel like this is real confidence and it's brewing. Now, what is Dana going to do about this? I feel like that's the big thing. Is Dana White going to even let him vacate his title? Because Dana White sees money with Ilia at the 145 weight class. He's just building a crazy legacy. That is like one of Dana's stars, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you like Ilia or not. Now, this is why I actually think Dana will be down for it. First of all, Ilia going up in weight is a big jump, but look who he's fighting going up in weight. It might not be Islam, but he's fighting the next best thing, which is Charles Oliveira. Now, look at Ilia Topuria. Look at the money he gets, the fans he attracts, like the kind of stardom he has. Dana White likes that. All Dana White sees with this Ilia versus Charles fight is money. Charles, huge superstar. Ilia, huge superstar. Both fan favorites. I'll say Ilia's a fan favorite. Let's be real, bro. He's a real bad man. And people don't really like real bad men all the time because they talk shit and he sells. Ilia's trying to become the biggest villain in UFC history in the sense that he's trying to go in there against everyone's fan favorite and brutally knock them out and, make people upset. Bro, he's looking like '09 Randy Orton, the legend killer, bro. Literally the legend killer. I was talking about it on Twitter. He's the legend killer. He's going there against the best and the most loved UFC fighters, and he's not just beating them, he's brutally beating them. And Charles Oliveira is going to be nothing but a victim. Like, I look at Charles' fight style, look at the way he gets hit. I feel bad. I almost feel bad for Charles, but knowing Charles, he's not going to shy away from this challenge either, because Charles is going to love to have like an Ilia Topuria on his resume. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even going to be, if Charles beats him, it's not going to be like, oh, he beat the smaller guy. We've seen Max Holloway go up from 145 and destroy Justin Gaethje. So 145 does have a significant skill. I don't know if it's a huge skill gap, but I do think 145ers move really well, and I feel like they might be a little bit more skilled than lightweights. But of course, the size, you got to make up for it. Now, I do think he's going to beat him. And overall, for Ilia's legacy, I'm not mad at him for doing this. I know people are like upset about him. Oh, he's ducking Movsar. Like I said, he's not ducking Movsar. Like the Movsar fight, I'll be real, it makes sense to me. I am a Movsar fan, but I do think Ilia said something about he lacks motivation. He's not really motivated to fight these guys in his weight class. And I see what he's talking about, but he doesn't really have the might to be like unmotivated. He doesn't have the right to be unmotivated. Like, who are you to say you're unmotivated? You haven't even left the division. I seen like Islam makes sense. Islam is rematching Armin. You know, he's looking at like Charles rematches on the table for Islam. So when Islam says I'm not getting motivated for these fights, I want something new, it makes sense. Ilia saying this, you be the two legends. What do you like? You have Diego Lopez potentially. You got Movsar potential, Aljo potential. You have so much potential people you haven't fought yet. I'm not saying Yair deserves it, but like he has so much other people in this weight class that he could fight, but he just doesn't want to. And the reason he doesn't want to isn't because he's scared of them. Oh, I'm scared. Yeah, dude, I'm scared of Yair and fucking Movsar, and I don't think that's the case, bro. I really just think he's chasing legacy. He's trying to stack his resume, and I don't mind the idea for Ilia's career, but like there's people who are being affected by this. You know, Volk wants his rematch. Volk's never getting his rematch. Like Volk gotta pack it up at this point because he's not ever gonna get that fight back. Like even, and I'll be real, Ilia would have probably knocked out Volk again. Let's be completely transparent here. Volk has not fought since that knockout. He's coming off of 2 back-to-back knockouts. I don't think going in there against Ilia Topuria, who just brutally finished you, is gonna do you any justice. You know what I'm saying? So Ilia, go for it. If Ilia is able to, is willing to vacate his belt and let someone fight for the undisputed belt when you leave it, just to go up and fight at 155, first of all, it's risky because there's no guarantee he beats Charles. Do I think he beats Charles? Yes. Does maybe a lot of other people think he beats Charles? Probably. But if he loses to Charles, chat, and he relinquishes his title, he's not champion anymore, and he's gonna have to fight for the belt. So, although he's young and he's chasing dreams, I understand he wants to retire within in less than 3 years because he doesn't want to touch the age of 30. He wants to be done with combat sports. I guess it comes with, you have to take a risk, and I do think he's gonna try to take a risk, but be careful what you try to risk and what you're asking for, because it's not gonna all be set in stone. I don't think Ilia Topuria is gonna it's not gonna be easy, but if anyone could do it, it's Ilia Topuria. So overall, am I supporting this decision of him leaving the featherweight weight class 145? I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not opposed to Ilia Topuria chasing greatness. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be different because if he actually goes up and beats Charles Oliveira and then he fights Islam, there can't be that narrative that, oh, Islam's only beating featherweights, or Islam's or fighting the smaller guy all the time, or Ilia sucked before. Ilia's only good at 145. Because if he brutally knocks out Charles, like beats Charles in more impressive fashion than Islam or something, then we can't have that. So I actually like the fact that he's going to go up and wait and have like a filler fight or like a tested fight against someone like Charles Oliveira, who's so established, champion, title defenses, and a fan favorite. He's gonna make loads of money. He's a smart man, you know. He's probably already made a lot of money right now because he's already beaten all the best in the world in his weight class, and now he's trying to go up and challenge himself. And listen, like I said, all power to Ilia Topuria. Let's see what he does with this. I don't think this is a bad thing. People are trying to gaslight me like, yeah, dude, he's ducking. It's a horrible mistake. He shouldn't do it. I'm all for it. It's just like, be careful what you're pushing for, because if you go up there and lose to Charles, it's over. I do think Charles is willing to take this fight. Charles, because Charles is in a weird place. He just beat Michael Chandler, and people are talking about, oh, him versus Islam. Let's be real, brother. Michael Chandler give you title shot, brother. We have to check this moment, brother. You know, check his grappling, something, brother. Who give him? Who says Michael Chandler gets you a title shot, brother? I don't know if you guys think that. That's like Sean Strickland beating Costa getting a title shot. This doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Beating up Michael Chandler off like that 3-year layoff is not going to get you a title shot. However, I don't care what anyone says. Beating Ilia Topuria, who is undefeated, never faced defeat. I don't care if it's moving up a weight class. It's just like when Islam beat Volk. It's still impressive. If you beat Ilia Topuria and your Charles Oliveira, you're next in line. So for both guys, is the number one contender spot. Who's going against Islam first? And I would say, yeah, Islam, just go up and wait and fight, become double champion. But Islam not being not willing to fight Bilal. I don't know if Islam's not willing to fight, but I know Bilal's not willing to fight Islam. That just being a roadblock in his GOAT career, he's gonna have to sit around and see what's gonna happen in his division. And I'm sure he doesn't want to rematch a Dustin Poirier. I'm sure he doesn't want to fight a Justin Gaethje who's coming off losses. I'm sure he doesn't want to fight a lot all these other guys at 155. So I'm sure he would invite either a rematch with Charles if Charles beats Ilia, or Ilia fights. So it really makes sense. People might be upset about this, but it makes sense in the 155 weight class. The only weight class it's kind of disrespectful to is the 145ers. But I'm sure that Movsar has no personal vendetta against Ilia. I think Movsar just wants to become champion. He doesn't give a shit who's holding the belt. So I'm sure he's like, oh, why are you running? Lopez, if I'm everyone at 145, I'm celebrating. If I'm Max Holloway, I'm celebrating. If I'm Volk, I'm celebrating. I could finally be champion again. I don't got to go through the actual best 145 on the planet. I do think there's something behind the scenes we're not seeing, though, with Ilia Topuria. Maybe he's struggling to make weight. Maybe he's struggling to cut weight, because this all seems kind of abrupt. But if it's truly because he just wants to retire at 30 and he's just shooting for the stars, brother, let's shoot for the stars, brother. Brother, we'll see, brother. Like I said, I wish him the best, and I'm actually interested to see how this career goes for Ilia. But let me know what you guys think about this whole Ilia situation. Do you think he's in over his head? How do you feel about him retiring 30? How do you feel like he's done with the 145? Just a lot with Ilia, man. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's it for me, though, and God bless. 2, 3, 4.